Hello everyone, and welcome to the Leo Cancer Care booth. We are extremely excited and proud to welcome our partners, Mevion Medical System, and we've got Kurt with us today, presenting and debuting for the very first time the Mevion S250 Fit. So without further ado, we'll pass over to Kurt.
Thank you, Sophie. I see a lot of people standing. Come closer if you can. All of you sitting, but for some reason, there's these people laying on the floor. And most of you chose to stand and sit, but it seems awkward. Very awkward. They're just laying here. So it's time to wake up. Stop lying around. Join the upright revolution. Thank you. Thanks for the introduction, Sophie. So I'm Kurt Kness. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Mevion Medical Systems. Delighted to be here in Vienna. Spend some time with you today to talk about the S250 Fit system, and specifically how we plan to fit an S250 Fit into a LINAC vault. And so we're going to go through that experience today. And after this, feel free to stop by and dig into more questions with us. All right. So Mevion isn't a new company in this paradigm. We've been doing proton therapy since 2004, over 20 years of proton therapy experience. I've been with Mevion for 20 years. I was this big when I started, this big now, but 20 years of proton experience. We really had one purpose in mind, one dream. We wanted proton therapy to be accessible to everybody. And back then, it was a pretty bold dream. Everybody was building multi-room systems. And we said, what if it would just be smaller? What if it would be a single room? What if we could rotate a cyclotron on a gantry? And everyone thought we were crazy. And years later, the evolution of proton therapy became smaller. Today, Mevion is the market leader in the United States with more single-room centers than any other vendor. We started that revolution with compact proton therapy. Yet, the European market has been slow for us to grow. And we wonder why. We say, well, how can we make such an impact in the United States, but we can't seem to make the same impact in Europe? And we take a look here. This is actually Vienna in the background. And the dream we had was much more difficult than you would think. Gantry systems were hard to deploy to Europe. The tender processes were long. As those processes dragged out, the construction costs would go up significantly, and delay the project even further. So for us, we saw an opportunity as the Mevion S250 Fit was coming to life. We thought, what about a market that needed something smaller, something easier, something that could drive down the street and be installed in an existing vault? This is a comparison for you to take a look at the dramatic size reduction that we have as we've evolved from a traditional single-room system, the Mevion S250i gantry system, and now the S250 Fit, being less than 1/3 the size of a traditional gantry system that has been deployed in Europe already. Significant reduction in concrete, conduits, steel, all these supplies that go into building and the complexity of launching a proton center. Today we see this vault size looks just like a vault you might already have. And we can fit this system in there. And we're going to show you how. So you wonder, well, Mevion's been around 20 years. Why didn't we just do this 20 years ago? The dream would have been realized already. And I wish we had. Honestly, if I think the Fit system launched 20 years ago, the question would be over, everyone would have it. But there were a few blockers technology-wise that really prevented this from evolving at that stage. The first thing we had, which was working in our favor, was the world's smallest accelerator. So Mevion developed this accelerator 20 years ago in a partnership with MIT. It's still the accelerator we use today, and it's still the smallest, most advanced proton therapy accelerator in the world. This accelerator is 15 tons with a 9 Tesla magnetic field, and it's able to be rotated on a gantry system. But more importantly, we can now fit it inside of the same room that the patient is in the LINAC vault. We're going to show you how that's done. The second thing that enabled this company came to us called Leo Cancer Care. And why am I in their booth? Steven's up there. Why am I in your booth? He sold us on a dream that if we could combine our technologies together, that we could fit into a much smaller space. And everyone thought he was crazy, just like they thought I was crazy when we were going to rotate a cyclotron on a gantry. And together that craziness came up with a solution where the back end of the machine is the same compact accelerator we know, with a more advanced treatment positioner and a CT system. The third element was, how do we do the treatment planning? Everyone's going to say, that's great, but I need to plan these patients upright. And our partners at RaySearch have been with us all the way since Hyperscan, when we launched our spot scanning system. They've been a believer in everything we do within our nozzle and a big supporter of the advancements that we made, and they've not shied away from releasing the next version to support upright, which yesterday announcing RayStation version 2025, which does include support for the S250 fit system. So as of today, you can plan on a RayStation for an S250 fit. Timely, I love the announcement, very timely. And they will continue to be partners as I show you what the potential of upright will bring. Treatment planning will be there right with you. Now, the dramatic change here, this is about a 2-minute video and I'm going to talk you through it. This is a video that was put together to show you the dramatic difference between installing a traditional gantry system and installing the first S250 fit. What you see here is a gantry system that was installed in, where was this? Singapore. Notice all the infrastructure required to put this together. The complexity of this project is directly related to cost. Anyone who's already done a system or is looking at planning a system knows the project costs go up significantly. As we design these facilities, we design the infrastructure to build them. And this is just the gantry. We haven't even gotten to the cyclotron. So, we start a partnership between Leo and Mevion. And we show you what it looks like to put in a fit system. And what you're going to see is the first system ever installed in Boston, Massachusetts. This is the Mevion factory. This is our research vault. It is approximately the dimensions of a LINAC vault. It's very similar. And this is us modifying the vault. We dug a pit for the positioner. And you're going to see the Leo team come in and install the positioning system along with the CT. And notice off to the left, it's hard to see. That's our accelerator. It's being pushed into the vault by a forklift. Not a crane, not some massive structure that was built in order to move this cyclotron, but a forklift, push it into place, and wire up all the infrastructure, and make it look simpler than you could ever imagine a proton system being installed. So that right there, it's not going to pause on that very long, but that moment for me was 20 years in the making. I took that picture from my cell phone. So the day the team told me the system was assembled and I should come down and take a look at it in the research vault, I remember that day being the day that I had dreamed of 20 years earlier when I joined Mevion. And I thought we would sit around and say, we need to make protons more like LINAC. I mean, we literally designed the hand pendant to look like TrueBeam so that you'd feel like you were controlling a LINAC. We designed the workflow to be like a LINAC. But we never could get it small enough to fit in the LINAC vault, and that day was important to me, and that day will be remembered as we deploy these systems to many LINAC vaults. And the perspective of that system is hard to believe. People said, well, did they really build it? So we let people start taking pictures at the factory to prove it. At first it was, no pictures. Then it was, take as many pictures as you want. Put it on social media. It is real. What comes along with the size reduction is more than just the footprint. The innovation is next generation. We're talking about CT imaging at IsoCenter. Not cone beam CT, true CT, diagnostic quality CT at IsoCenter. That is the first system in the world that will have this quality of imaging available during treatment. If you see the future with me, where can we go with true online adaptive therapy when we have a CT at IsoCenter? I'll give you an example of a customer of ours that has a gantry system. They have our cone beam CT, and they have a CT on rails, diagnostic CT on rails. And as soon as they started using the diagnostic CT on rails, they never went back and used the cone beam CT, and they asked us to remove it. And the statement from that customer was, once you see a real CT, you cannot unsee it. And so ethically, they could not go back to treating a patient with cone beam CT. And that's the future we're moving towards. And when we can do it at IsoCenter, it makes it a lot simpler. The second innovation is our race station planning. We talked about this. Race station has been on board for the long run. The features we're talking about here are already supported in the initial release. You can plan with our multi-leaf collimator, our layer switching. So if you're familiar with Hyperscan nozzle is the same for the FIT system as it is for the previous generations of the Mevion system. And where we're going with this is a 360-degree smart arc therapy. So arc will be released in the first version of the FIT system, and Race Station will support it in 2026 for full treatment capability. But imagine a world where protons are more like VMAT, but now you have a proton, full 360-degree rotation, and CT at IsoCenter. We think the combination of these things is what's going to change the industry. So, better imaging. And the future of imaging changes. What I know from 20 years in proton therapy is that the cyclotron doesn't change that much, but everything in front of it does. And so we've gone through 4 or 5 CTs over the years, and imagine your upgrade path is the front of the room here, not back here. You're not shutting down a center for 2 years to change out cyclotrons, upgrade gantries, complex projects. Maybe a new CT comes out on the market, or the new CT is retrofittable. Maybe there's new immobilization devices. There's all sorts of expansion capabilities on the clinical side of the room that allow this to be upgraded much easier. The treatments will be faster. We've already tested this on our prototype in the factory. You're talking about smart arc therapy will have at least a 20% reduction in the time it takes to treat the patient. Upright setups have already shown at least a 20% reduction in the amount of time that it takes to set up the patient repeatedly. And the quality of this treatment is second to none. This is the Hyperscan treatment planning or treatment nozzle, where we have a proton MLC, the only vendor who can collimate at every single layer, and during the arc treatment, we could collimate at every single angle while switching energy layers as well. When you look at this, we really were thinking about the patient. Everything in the system was designed about the patient. The awkwardness of Sophie and her team laying down here, imagine we were staring over them, right? That's your patient, that's your experience. Today, I'm looking you in the eyes, you're sitting, you're standing. If you all laid down right now, how weird would that be? It'd be weird for me, it'd probably be weirder for you. That's not where we're going. Now, is it real? I can make a presentation with lots of renderings. Engineering has lots of cool drawings, but this system is for real. This system has been delivered to Stanford in California. This system is currently being installed, and this system will treat its first patient this year. So here you see, this is the same truck we used to use to deliver the gantry-based system, where the accelerator had the mounting tubes on it. Now you have this tiny accelerator on a big truck. We could probably use a smaller truck. I think that was the feedback I got. But you can see the scale difference here. And to put this in the building was sort of an anticlimactic event. It used to be a big rigging event. Media comes out, everybody's standing there, many minutes of this big crane rigging in an accelerator. This took about a minute and a half to put the accelerator through the hole, and then everybody's like, great, now what? Then you get to the installation in the LINAC vault, and we're used to teams swarming the installation to put all the pieces together. And we realize the vault isn't big enough for that anymore. So if you visit this place and we have our team there, there's about 3 to 4 people working in the vault at a time, putting the system together, like a LINAC would be, and doing it quickly, methodically. Now, take another look at the cyclotron up close. It's almost life-size. It's a little taller than me when I reach my arm up, but the cyclotron's about 3 meters in diameter. So, world's smallest proton accelerator. And now you see the LEO system off on the left there, and a lot of signatures who are proud that that system is delivered and under installation. But there's three ways to approach this installation. So you'd say, well, I have a LINAC vault or I don't. We have 3 customers today who are approaching it 3 different ways. First one on the left there is actually my hometown in Tampa, Florida. Baycare added a LINAC vault to the front side of the building, integrated with their existing radiation oncology department, which made a very simple construction project and not building a proton vault. So they contracted vendors that are used to building LINAC vaults for LINAC prices and put it into an existing department that had other LINACs. And for them, it's just an extension of what they do today. And I drive by that project about once a month. It is real. All the concrete's poured. The picture is actually old. That concrete is set, and we will deliver that system this year as well. The Stanford system, as I showed you, is already there. That was another expansion to an existing vault. They added underground to the existing structure and expanded the department. However, the window or envelope that they had to build in would never have allowed a gantry system to be deployed at Stanford. And Stanford would have never realized the dream of proton therapy without a compact system of this nature. The third one is Atlantic Health. This is an existing vault here. I didn't have a picture of the inside, but this is actually oversized for what we needed, and we will be deploying that system. The amount of time to retrofit this vault for perhaps some extra shielding and access is less than 3 months, and they would be ready for delivery this year as well. So all 3 of these systems are scheduled for delivery this year. Will be clinical, some this year, some next year. So I want to summarize. You're looking at the future of proton therapy. Dream with me that we're in the infancy stage of upright. And I know it's hard for everyone to adopt something new, especially in radiation oncology. But this is where the field is heading. This is where Mevion is heavily investing. This is where Leo Cancer Care is all in. And together, as we combine these dreams, we will see a future in proton therapy that will be accessible to everybody. So we want you to plan smart. We showed you many ways to plan for a LINAC vault. We want you to build it smaller. Everything needs to get smaller in order to deploy across the world. And we want you to know that it's here now. I'm here now. Mevion's here now. Leo's here now. These systems are being installed right now. 5 systems will deploy and be installed in the next 12 months. The vision is real. Upright proton therapy is real. I appreciate your time. Stop by our booth, talk to us more about it, and let's look at your specific projects. Thank you.